Welcome, everybody. It is Monday night, and it is, John.
Wow, look at the watch. Look at the
I
watch.
got a watch.
Nice.
I got an actual watch. It's one of those watches, your heart rate, your calories burned. When you get my age and my issues, they come in handy. It is Monday night, and this is In the Batter's Box. It is the NGSC Sports Baseball Show. I am your host, Ralph Garcia. The square is full. As the guys join us, of course, from Jersey. I can tell you 1,000 million things about this guy. I'll just say this much about him.
Yeah.
He's a damn Yankee fan, and it's a sickness that we there seems to be no cure for. So we just accept him the way he is. But he's also the host of the Enhanced Sports Show, Saturdays, 4 to 6 p.m. You get a chance. It's Monday night. You got about 48 hours left. You better start calling in on Wednesday. Because if you're trying to get in on Louis Tenor's show, believe me, the line is long. It's still long. So
Yes.
hurry up and get on there. Anyway, the co-hosts are in the batter's box. Mr. Louis Tenor. Louis!
Ralph?
Them damn Yankees, Louis. Them damn Yankees, Louis.
I know.
We're gonna talk about him, Louis. We're gonna talk about it. Of course, co-host, creator, partner, friend, and a whole lot more. Up in the batter's box. John, season 9 is going strong, and college baseball is here. MLB is here. Play ball, John.
Yeah, it's time to do that. It's always good to be with you. It's time to do that.
He says that all the time. He really does. I appreciate that. How come I can't, I got problems here. Oh, yeah. And also with us here, I got to do it on the 3 dots. I'm trying to do this on my phone here. I'm like, hey, I can't save the show until I make it public.
Right.
And also joining us, the host of the Walker Report. Covers Florida, man. Tamp Bay Rays, Lightning, USF, ABC, XYZ, all around that Tampa area and more. And of course, as we stated before, the newest partner, equal partner at NGSC Sports. He is, of course, Mr. Bradley Walker. Hey, Brad, where are you at?
What's going on, gentlemen? Happy to be on here.
Yeah, where are you, Brad?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
All right, but where are you, Brad? You don't look like you're
I
home.
am at Buffalo Wild Wings with my man Jordan. He's sitting across from me. We're here to watch the Lightning game.
There you
Go Lightning. Go Lightning. Welcome to the show, everybody. It's the intro right here. I'm going to be sharing the show in just a second, of course. College baseball being played. We'll always close the show out with college baseball. Major League Baseball is going down. A new season is upon us, so we get it underway. Now, remember that I am not your biggest Yankee fan. I am a big baseball fan, but I'm not a big Yankee fan. And one of the things, one of the main things we can agree on is the New York Yankees. Of course, they're built on winning. Great baseball team. Last year, the big run to the World Series. The question at the end of the season, going into this season, can the Yankees repeat? Can the Yankees at least make another deep run? Blah, 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 blah. Louis, I usually don't start with you, my man. But you know what? It's a Yankee thing, so we're going to talk about it. What happened to the Yankees a couple of years ago? The big mammoth machine in the Bronx, rolling along, all of a sudden injuries hit, but somehow, some way, those kids were able to hold it down and make a hell of a run. here we go again, starting with Garrett Cole, Tommy John. Look, Louis, you don't lose Cole. And there's some other injury bugs there in the Bronx you can tell us about, but you don't lose Garrett Cole and wonder, is the season over before it started, Louis?
Well, I wouldn't say that, but with the injuries that piling up already,
Louis wouldn't say that. Louis wouldn't say that. Of course he wouldn't.
No, the season. If you're Chicago White Sox, yes, your season's already over. But that's beside the point here. Anyway, the injuries though, that is a troubling sign. Of course, you got Stanley was injured every other week, and of course, but Cole's injury does kind of concern me a bit. So, I'm going into the season, a little bit more cautious than usual because one player who gets injured, that's easy to replace. But you got two of them now on the injured list already. Yeah, I am concerned about that. I don't think it's going to be too much around the long run, but right now, a little skeptic.
I know, and that's where I was going, John, because okay, I'm a Yankee hater, but I love baseball. You don't wish bad fortunes on any organization, even the organizations you don't root for. But in this case with the New York Yankees, remember that we were talking about a couple of years ago. It was multiple injuries that happened to the Yankees, and lucky enough again that the guys that the next man up mentality worked. Once again, John, it isn't just the big one, Cole. There's more than one injury here with the New York Yankees. Is the New York Yankee season, I'm not going to say over, but damn, John, I'd say it's in jeopardy before it starts.
Well, certainly if you're a fan of the Baltimore Orioles, if you're a fan of the Red Sox, all of a sudden your situation just got a whole lot better. This race has now become a bit tighter based on the fact that, in this case, Garrett Cole is no longer available. That spring training start that he made a couple of weeks ago against Minnesota, in which he only lasted 2 innings and gave up 5 runs, and then after it was over, complained that his elbow was sore. Well, certainly set off some red flags and alarms that eventually led to the decision that Tommy John would be required for him. Again, it's a major hole in that rotation that they've got to figure out how to fix. And do they have the people to do it? I would assume that Stroman now gets the chance to be put back into that rotation. But still, you're missing a significant piece to a puzzle that, frankly, was very good last year. And can it duplicate it? I think now that's a bit of a question. And for other teams in this division, they now have a reason to believe that maybe they can sneak in and potentially be something.
And again, for the Yankees, so big because here's a team that can't afford any injury to their pitching staff. I mean, it's a team that sometimes across the last couple of years has been pretty lucky to get the way they've been, with the lack of pitching they've had at times. But to take a hit like Cole, that's a hell of a hit. So I'm going to go over to Brad over here. Brad looks like he's having a good old time. I've had Brad on mute. I don't know if you can hear me. Hey, Brad.
Yeah.
Garrett Cole, New York Yankees.
And then I sort of was off of it when we reported that final out.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
Yeah. It's going to be hard. We'll wait. Brad, let's hold on for you for Tampa Bay Rays talk. So, yeah, John, a big hit for the Yankees, and you brought up the point that I didn't even think about. How it changes the dynamics for the rest of the American League East right now, so early up front. It really does.
It provides everyone with a chance to believe that they've got enough to potentially make a run here, that this division has opened up somewhat now. And as long as that continues to be the case, teams like Tampa Bay and Toronto can still believe that there's a reason to hope that if things fall into place, that they could eventually find themselves in an interesting position here.
Louis, the thing now is the sentiment in the Bronx. Because, I mean, as a fan, already you're thinking like, oh, crap. This early, I mean, it's spring training. The season's about to start. So you guys are going to start on your heels, Louis, but I know you got belief that next man up is going to work again, huh?
Yes, I do. You can't write the Yankees off, even before the season starts. I know that a lot of people think that they would, but that's him. Next man's gotta step up.
But nothing, isn't it concerning, at least a little bit concerning, Louis? They're cold. We're not talking about Hank Steinbrenner Jr. the fourth. It's your big gun. So that I mean, John, for me, it's just another pitcher is bad enough for the Yankees, but your ace.
Well, it could force the Yankees to make a move when we get to July that maybe they don't want to have to make, which is
the other thing.
And unfortunately having to overpay for somebody to give themselves an opportunity to reach the playoffs. I think that would be the concern at the moment if you're a Yankee fan or even a member of that organization, that you're going to have to do something you didn't expect or want to do later on this season. But again, that's going to depend on how the first half goes and, frankly, how many challengers that they have for that division.
It is now going to be a challenge. And again, it doesn't mean the season's over. But let's see how that affects the New York Yankees, especially at the start of the season. Yankees don't want to find themselves too far back. They don't want to, that's the one thing they don't want to do. And let's see what it does for the rest of the American League East. Brad, you good to go? You ready to blow? Because I'm going to unmute you. Here we go. All right, Brad. So,
What's up, guys?
oh, that's not you. Okay. I guess, Brad, we'll start here. John, I'm going to bring this up here. The mess in Tampa Bay. John, Bradley's going to break this down for us. I think he's going to have a little rant here, and I pretty much don't blame him. So before Brad, make sure you take care of your background noise when I come to you. But John, there is a mess in Tampa Bay, and here's the thing that I'm waiting for Brad to touch on. The way this played out, that leaves a bad taste to the fan base. But I'm going to let Brad touch on that. I want you to touch on what this does, the shift. What does this possibly mean? Are the Rays leaving? What it means for Major League Baseball all of a sudden, this change of heart?
Well, the first thing it means is that Major League Baseball wants the ownership group to sell this team. And that is what Rob Manfred has been talking about over the past, let's say, 5, 6, 7 days now, is that he's trying to convince Tampa Bay to go ahead and put themselves up for sale and find somebody else that's willing to take over this ball club and either keep them in Tampa Bay or move them elsewhere. Certainly the hurricane of last fall has really become a problem because the land that they were going to use was seriously involved in that hurricane, and consequently, it's what started the mess that's now been created. But still, the ownership group decided that they were going to walk away from that deal, walk away from that land because they didn't think the land could be used anymore. And unfortunately, it has created a problem for that team that Major League Baseball, I think, has finally decided they've had enough of.
I bet Bradley Walker joins us now. Hey, Brad, the mess in Tampa Bay. I'm not even going to string you along. What the hell is going on?
It's a freaking mess. I'll have the chicken parmesan milk. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. It is. They didn't want to pay money to rebuild the Trop, but they want to extend the lease 10 years and then refurbish Tropicana Field, which is something that they haven't been able to draw a crowd with. So why would you waste the money and do that? And you're going to waste the money to put the roof back on that blew off during a hurricane, and the ownership is blaming the hurricanes as the reason why. No, the reason why is you didn't have the money up front and you were hoping the city would not approve the bonds. That's what your problem is, Stu, and that ownership group. Time to sell the team or say goodbye, Tampa Bay, to the Rays, because they're going to go someplace else and be in a great city where fans will support them. So, bye, Stu. Bye, Tampa Bay. Bye.
Yeah.
Wow.
Farewell.
Pretty straightforward, Louis.
Yeah, I mean, you think what I mean, a prime location. I have a major league team, and of course, they have spring training out there, but and they were competitive for quite a while, but yet the fans never came out to support them. I mean, that's really a shame. I mean, even when the World Series 1 year, and the fans still didn't come out, and now you get all this mess from the hurricane and everything. It's just gone from bad to worse. So, I don't think Tampa Bay is going to be Tampa Bay much longer either.
And isn't that something, John? Isn't that something, John, that's been discussed, as Brad said, and you said, it's something that's been discussed now for quite some time. Almost like Major League Baseball has been waiting for this moment. My problem is it's the owner and the way, I don't know, maybe Brad, I'm wrong, the way ownership handled this, like you said, like they were expecting a bunch of handouts, screw the fans and screw the team. It was all about the money.
Well, and then of course they had a deal. They had a real estate deal in Tampa by Ybor City, but he didn't want to pay any money to fund the stadium. So now he waited until St. Pete came up with the money to fund the stadium, and now he's pulling out because he doesn't want that to happen. So once again, ownership dropped the ball, and they wanted to blame it on the city and the county for delaying it. But for God's sakes, man, hurricanes hit, man. People lost their houses and their businesses and everything. If you don't live in Florida, you have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. But I'll tell you what, go back and look at any photos of Milton and Helene, and you tell me, or go back and look at Katrina, you tell me how much damage hurricanes can do. And I'll tell you right now, straight up, I had no power for a whole week after Milton. So I'll tell you what, man, they need to go somewhere in a hurry. Stu needs to sell the team. It's time for Rob Manfred to force him out of here and get an ownership group that wants to support the team and the fans, because once again, he's the worst owner in my area. Hands down. I don't care if I don't get credentials. I don't care. He's the worst owner out of any of them. The best one is Jeff Vinnick, who just sold the majority of his team anyway. And then you have the Buccaneer ownership, which they're okay. They're fine. They do a good job with Tampa Bay. So
It leads into what Major League Baseball apparently has finally decided here, which is to force the ownership in Tampa Bay to basically get out. It does appear that the other owners involved with Major League Baseball have decided that they just don't want to do this anymore. They don't want to deal with this individual anymore. And because they don't want to do it, they're pretty much telling Rob Manfred to get rid of him and get him out of there as quickly as they possibly can, which leads into the possibility of the other part of the subject, which is Nashville and whether or not Nashville is ready to basically steal a major league franchise from a city that has, I guess, found ways to lose it. Well,
First and foremost with Brad's having a good old dinner. I want Brad to enjoy himself. Brad, look, on a professional note for us, it sucks because Brad finally gets in the door with the Rays. We're going to build something special. He's going to have something to take him to his, and all this. It sucks. It sucks. Bradley Walker, thank you for joining us. Don't forget the Walker Report, folks. Brad, enjoy dinner. Go Boats.
Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good night, guys.
All right, have a good night, partner.
Yep.
I'm trying to get Brad off the screen with my mouse. Ralph, you're using a tablet. You don't need a mouse. This is what I use.
Yes.
Okay.
It does bring up Nashville. It does bring up Music City Baseball, and that's the next part to this. I think equation is Nashville ready? Is Music City Baseball really interested? That they already apparently have a logo. They've got some merchandise that they put together. So it does appear that Nashville is making a push either for the Tampa Bay Rays or for somebody else.
I will go first. I'll speak personally in a moment. But I'll go first. MLB.com. Jason Mowry writes. Excuse me, not Jason Mowry. Yorick Sam writes. Nashville Stars show-off logo hats for potential MLB expansion team in photos. Says an ownership group called Music City Baseball is working to bring an MLB expansion franchise to Nashville, and it moved one step closer to making this goal a reality on Wednesday. A logo and a pair of caps for the potential Nashville Stars expansion team have surfaced. Oh, nice. Making it the first potential expansion franchise to receive an official New Era cap. Oh,
Right.
that's,
Does have the contract with New Era. That's correct. Yes.
that is very interesting. Well, I'll tell you from a Nashville perspective. What the hell do I know about Nashville? Oh, I don't know. I've only been around here almost 40 years. When I got here, the biggest thing you could even think of in sports locally was Lipscomb basketball, Brentwood High School football, Brentwood Academy, just to name a few teams. There's no professional teams. Small landscape, nothing that would ever resemble, or at that time that I arrived in Nashville, Tennessee, 35 years ago. And this was nothing. No one was going to, this was not a sports city. So that wasn't in the cards. We all know what happened eventually with the Houston Oilers, how somehow they made it to Nashville by way of Memphis and Vanderbilt. And then, of course, Adelphi and the Tennessee Titans. That changed the trajectory here. It changed everything in Nashville. The city at that point had grown so much in just the first 10 years that I had been here. Then the Nashville Predators came to town. And the question in Nashville, especially, you don't question much about an NFL team. An NFL team is like a building. Once you build it, they will come. That's automatic. It's automatic in the NFL. The NHL, I thought at the time, was kind of a long shot. Like, wow, they're going to take a shot at the NHL. And then after years of an NHL franchise, the Nashville Predators found themselves in the midst of rumors that they were going elsewhere. That Nashville just wasn't a hockey city. And I'm going to tell you guys, oh yeah, I was born and raised in New York. But I'm going to tell you one of the reasons why I'm proud to call Tennessee home. The city of Nashville said, no, you will not take our hockey team. What happened from there was incredible. And that was the end of any question if Nashville, Tennessee is a professional sports franchise location. The only question now, when do we get an NBA team? When do we get a Major League Baseball team? This city has had the NFL draft, all kinds of events to prove that it is not only capable, but Nashville, Tennessee, I'm telling you guys, is honestly becoming one of the little meccas beside the big boys. And they're ready for a Major League Baseball team. And I for one, boys, John, you want to get me back? You want to get me into a booth for baseball? All right, partner. You can get me in that booth. That's for damn sure. And again, back to you, John, real quick. When you look at the cities that everybody wants a team back in Montreal. Who's going to tell you that they wouldn't like to see? Sure, we would. But when you think of all these cities, is there another city, John, that comes to your mind real quick that's like more prepared and ready for Nashville? I know Charlotte is one of those teams that
would be the one I would think of, is Charlotte, North Carolina, and I think that's one that probably will make a serious run toward Tampa Bay if, in fact, the ownership group finally puts that team up for sale. And I think Nashville will do it too, by the way. Instead of looking for an expansion team, why not go after one that's already been put together and is fairly right, exactly. Why not? And so I think those two cities end up in a bit of a bidding war for this particular franchise. And certainly it would make sense. I mean, let's face it, Tampa Bay is not that far away from Nashville. It's not that far away from Charlotte, North Carolina either. And so the idea of making that kind of a transition wouldn't be that difficult. Plus, you could keep, whether they go to Nashville or whether they go to Charlotte, you could keep them in the American League Eastern Division, so you wouldn't have to realign anything.
Oh, nice, John. Nice.
Yeah, I agree.
Nice. And Louis, I know it'll be hard at first.
Yeah.
And maybe not. Because it is Tampa Bay, right? It'd be nice to see Nashville kicking some Yankee ass.
Mhm. I figured you'd say that.
Probably, Louis. You know that if there's a baseball team here, and it's like I'm at the game, I'm in the press box, it's the seventh inning, Nashville's up 7-0, 7-1. Looks like one of those lockdown games. Louis, you know I'm gonna grab my phone. I'm gonna take a nice selfie of me with the scoreboard in the background, and I'm gonna be a good friend, and I'm gonna send it to you.
Yes.
I do think what does become interesting about this is the next owners meeting that takes place, which should be rather soon since the Major League season is about to begin. And
Why
what
that?
of a meeting that becomes? I mean, do the owners basically gang up on Stu and basically try to convince him nicely, or maybe even not so nicely, to get rid of that franchise and to move on from it? Or do they try and figure out a way to coexist with him? I think that next owners meeting is going to be very interesting, because there's no question that this subject probably is priority number one.
Yes.
You have to. My thing about this situation, like with Tampa, it is really bad. You look like the Angels. How many times we've talked about the Angels over the years, right? A franchise that you got one of the greatest players ever, and you don't seem to figure out a way to build around them. Teams that are cheap, that don't spend money. Okay. But when you have an owner, like if I put myself in as a Tampa Bay Rays fan for a second, I started thinking to myself, you little SO son of a you know what.
Yes.
He just played the system to see and remember, and I thought Brad was going to touch this point. This is a city that has suffered from not one but two hurricanes, and the owner is basically, telling them, "Listen, I'm really sorry that you guys have to go through this, but I need you guys to fund this." No. So no wonder the city of Tampa said, "Forget you guys," and that's a damn shame. But one thing that looked like it was never going to be solved, John, was the lack of fans. They never seemed to be able to figure that out.
No, they never did, and the marketing of that ball club never was able to figure it out either. And again, now it's going to be interesting to see what happens with them playing in the spring training complex, which is what they will do for the entire season, and what that does for this team in terms of interest or frankly lack thereof. Look, if Tampa Bay gets off to a bad start, if that's what happens in the month of April, I think that the idea of empty seats in Steinbrenner's spring training field is going to be a terrible eyesore for Major League Baseball to have to deal with, and probably just fuels the fire in terms of getting rid of this ownership group to find Tampa a better place to play in and a chance to grow.
Yeah.
And I wonder, Louis, because again, Tampa Bay fans, Jesus Christ, man, they've been through so much, right? And now they got to go. Now they got to go through this, and it starts to make me wonder about these people. I mean, after this, are they going to say, you know what, screw it, I'm not even going to show up to these damn games? And it's a mess. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. So I hate it. I hate it for them. But if they wind up here or not here, I always say here. I'm 45 minutes away.
Yes.
Well, who is Music City Baseball?
Say again?
Who is Music City Baseball?
Music City Baseball. That's the ownership group formed
Right.
for this specific.
Who are these people? Who are they? I mean,
I don't know. Let us ask that question, John. I can't tell you something I don't know. What was the question, John? Who is Music City what?
Well, who are they? Who is Music City Baseball?
Who is Music City Baseball? Technology is something.
What are they?
All right. It is an organization working with Major League Baseball. Yeah, we know that. Mission. All right, here we go. Key individuals. Alberto Gonzalez. John Loar, responsible for all day-to-day operations. That is about all MLBMusicCity.com. It's a beautiful logo. I don't want to subscribe. I just want to see. Let's see here. Very new site. And I think that in order to do anything, these people would like you to, I don't think they want you to subscribe, right, John? Interesting. I have to find that out because at least one answer that we didn't get is any names that we know off the top of our heads.
So I'm assuming that this logo on the cap is being sold in the city.
Yeah, and I need to get on that, by the way. Thank you for saying that, because I need to get on that. Because I need me...
So I'm assuming if you go to a sporting goods shop, you're going to find that hat in that shop.
I don't know, but I need to find out. Now that you say that, I need to find out. All right, so John, it's about that time. You're sweeping through the show a little too fast, John. This week in college baseball. So I'm going to start it this way, John. Yesterday was the SEC men's basketball championship.
Right.
Yes.
Between the University of Florida and my beloved University of Tennessee. Listen, Florida was the better team, but it's good to know that the Volunteers, they have a legitimate national championship team.
Nice.
Let's see what happens. March Madness is here. Let me tell you where there are not too many questions. Hey, John, you tell me how good this Tyler Tennessee Volunteer baseball team is.
They can bash the baseball, and they're back to bashing the baseball the way that they did last spring, leading their way to Omaha and eventually to winning that national championship. They are back to doing what they did last year, and I do think that unless there are some pitching staffs that can slow this group down, I think they're going to create some records here based on what they've already started to do. That is a whole lineup. And there are no holes in that lineup. They can score runs at snap of fingers. They've got a pitching staff that's certainly pretty good, and the defense that is as well. But it's that lineup. I mean, they can just score runs, it appears, at will against anybody.
Bradley Walker got credentials to the Single-A affiliate of the Phillies with the Clearwater Threshers. Way to go. Way to go, Brax. Hey, look, 20-0. 20-0. The thing with this baseball team, they didn't start off, though they're unbeaten. They didn't start off with a bang. They had a couple of good games here and there. They had a couple of. But as of late, John, this baseball team is on a friggin' tear. A tear.
I saw them at the Astro Foundation tournament. They were part of that field that played in that tournament. And at that point, you're right, they weren't all that great, but they were still winning games. And
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
that
That's a
eventually,
championship.
once they got it all together, that they were just going to go on
Oh,
and be significant,
boy.
which is what's happened. And now the conference play has begun in the Southeastern Conference. There's no question that they are the team that everybody's going to be trying to match themselves up with. And so far, it's not going well.
Got a big weekend series coming. Speaking of conference play with Florida, Florida also playing good baseball, number 7 in the country in the latest college baseball rankings. That's going to be a great showdown right here. Florida's 15-2 right now. And the lad, it says here, the Gators put up 29 combined runs in a Saturday doubleheader against Harvard. I guess maybe against Harvard. It should have been that hard, John.
Well, again, the Northeast teams have had quite the struggle up here to try and get themselves outside and get themselves ready to play their schedules. And teams like Florida and teams that have been warm weather environments have really been taking advantage of the Northeast schools that just haven't been ready yet. And again, Florida did that to Harvard. I mean, Harvard's probably a better team than that, although are they an SEC type team? No, not by any stretch of the imagination. But again, it's the difference between the southeastern part of the country where the weather has been pretty good really since the year, and the northeast part of the country where it hasn't been. And because there is that difference, and it's the one problem I have with college baseball is that different parts of the country have different weather climates and different situations that you have to figure out a way to adapt to. And up here in the Northeast, it's always been a problem. And that's why the teams up here in the Northeast have such a hard time being not only a 500 team, but an above 500 team.
And Florida's not going to have What was that, Louis?
That does, I think, serve as an unfair advantage to us. I mean, because, the South, it's, mild and whatnot, like 75, 85 degrees. And, you take some parts like in the New England states, no offense, John, but, Maine, Vermont, Massachusetts, it's like 35 degrees. There's this time of year. And
look, in Louisiana
fair.
this past weekend, Maine was down there to play St. John's. And it didn't go well for the Black Bears. And again, they've been trying to find different parts of the country where they can at least get outside and be able to practice and play games. And consequently, their record at 4-12, I believe it is, really reflects the fact that they've just had a difficult time being able to do that. They're not the only team up here in the Northeast that is having those kind of struggles, however, but that's just the nature of college baseball. And it's one of the problems that I have with it is that there's never going to be there's never going to be balance. I mean, there's going to be schools.
There'll never be a level playing field. Yeah, it'll never be a level playing field. Yeah.
That's
no. And speaking of Florida, they got to run the gamut this week, early into the season. They got Florida State midweek, and then a series with Tennessee on the weekend.
That's going to be a terrific game. Florida State just took care of Boston College over the weekend. And Florida State is starting to, again, demonstrate that they've got a well-balanced lineup and frankly, a well-balanced team. And they may be looking to make another trip to Omaha themselves. That Seminole team is pretty good right now. And again, being able to take advantage of where they're located has been a big plus for them.
Arkansas at number 3. I just paid attention to them only because I heard, I can't pronounce his name. I'm going to try it. Wahiwa Aloy. 5, John, count them. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 multi-hit games last week. And Brent Iredale, he hit 4 home runs last week. These two guys, 5 multi-hit games in a week. Listen, the guy would be happy to have 5 multi-hit games in a month.
That's true. Arkansas can hit, Arkansas can pitch too. And I think that combination is going to make them very, very deadly to deal with in this conference. Look, the SEC is just loaded with talent. They're loaded with very good teams. They're loaded with very good lineups. And when you have to deal with these squads, and eventually they'll start beating each other up, as is always the case. But these schools are loaded with lineups and talent, no question.
Yeah, the other one, of course, that we didn't mention really quick, forgive me, would be the number 2 ranked LSU Tigers.
Yes.
Another team. Hey, Josh Pearson hit a grand slam the other day. I think it's still leaving the damn stadium.
Probably is. Look, the one team in the SEC that I still haven't figured out is Texas A&M. I don't understand.
They haven't been the same, John, for a couple of years now.
No, and that's the one I think that if you're looking to try and figure out what's wrong with that conference, it would be them. They started the year as a team that most people thought was top 5. They have steadily decreased as the season has gone along. It's continued into conference play, and you do wonder if Texas A&M is just basically playing themselves out of a significant position once you get to May and June.
Listen, that's the beauty of Florida. I mean, of college baseball. But going back to, I was thinking about going back to the conversation you guys were talking about the weather and the balance of power. That's so unfair when you think about it. You don't have that issue in any other sport.
No, you don't.
Any other sport, and not only that, you don't have it in another sport. In baseball, it only affects a portion of the United States. And I don't, John, I mean, is there any, the obvious solution would be to start the season later. But how do you do
several years ago about splitting the season? In other words, you play later on, so you play April, May, June, but you don't finish your season until you come back for first semester in September. And that would mean the College World Series would end up being played either the end of September or the 1st of October. We would go up against Major League Baseball's playoffs.
Woo! Just before the World Series? Woo!
World Series. And I think that was an idea that got nixed rather quickly based on that particular idea that you'd end up going up against Major League Baseball at its best time of the year, and so you want to stay away from that as best you can. Plus, you're also going up against college football, and that's not going to work either. And so college baseball has decided to stay the way they are and just accept the fact that the level playing field is never going to exist.
Because and NFL football too, so you're really going to get clobbered.
Right, and the NFL too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, either way, it's a lose-lose. It's a lose-lose.
Right, either way. Yeah. And so, again, for the teams up here in the Northeast, they just have to survive the first, really, 6 weeks of the season. And hopefully they don't put themselves in such a big hole that they can't climb out of it once the weather gets better.
But
what in the crap? Something's playing on my phone. I have no clue. Okay. ESPN radio. I don't know how that even happened. All right, give me a second there. So I mean, look, I'm excited about the possibility of having a baseball team in Nashville, guys. That would be.
So
especially my wife.
Question: is there enough land in Nashville to build a Major League Baseball ballpark?
Right.
What was that, John?
Is there enough land in Nashville to build a ballpark?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And with the redevelopment of the East Bank for the Titan Stadium, there's land around there, and I'm sure they would tie all of that in. This the East Bank is being redone for the new Titan Stadium that I believe is 2026. I believe it is 27. It's not just going to be a stadium itself. This is going to be a mall, a shopping center, a business center, everything that surrounds it. So, yeah, this team has, and they that's why they're making the bid, John. The city, like I said, things change. At that moment, they were all packed downtown. It was with the Predators. You couldn't move. It was this rush of the city saying, no, we're a professional sports city. We're not losing our team. Things seem to change there, and the city turned from I'm trying to say it the right way. From hey, you think we can become a sports town?
They went from a
to
nobody
know,
to somebody is what happened.
yeah, to knowing at that moment we're a sports town. And what do you do when you're a sports town? You got yourself an NFL team, you got yourself an NHL team, you try to get an NBA team, and you try to get an MLB team.
Right.
There's also talks, of course, remember that Nashville, and as a matter of fact, I'll start that first as my final thoughts to continue this on. There's also talks, of course, that Nashville is in the running for a WNBA franchise, which I'm here to tell you, folks, I'm there. I'm so there. It's not even funny. I'll be covering that, John, and I won't miss a game. But back to what I was saying about the point of Nashville, a Major League Baseball team, and professional sports. I come from New York City, a place where that's been a professional sports franchise city since its inception. It's like it was made to be one of the meccas or the mecca of sports. So that's all I've ever known. Louis, you're in Jersey. You're a Yankee fan. You grew up in the same area. That John's in Beans, right down the road from Beantown. You kidding me? The Bruins, the Sox, the Celtics, the Pats. Come on! I mean, to watch this city. I told the story about sitting at Vanderbilt Stadium in 1987. I don't remember who they played. Jesus, it was halftime. They were losing by what, 40? By halftime, it was 37-0 or something like that. But the thing that amazed me the most was I kept looking around the stadium. Number one, there weren't that many people there, and I mean, really weren't that many people there. But they didn't. Not only that they weren't into the game, I got the impression that these people didn't come to the game to see the game. It's just weird. So I asked the guy beside me, hey, nobody seems to be into the game. And the guy told me, you're not from here. Said, no, I'm from New York. He said, okay, well, you don't understand. Let me explain it. He said, the Commodores suck. We know. Our team is no good. We come here to support the school, the football team, and have a good time. We already know the game's going to be over. He looks at that scoreboard as if to tell me, see, we already know the game's going to be over by halftime.
Yeah, sweet.
I'm thinking to myself, wow, what a shitty attitude to have about you don't even have a professional sports franchise. It's the biggest football team you have in the city, and that's how you feel? And then I find out that it was just commonplace. It didn't matter. To see this city grow the way it has, it's ready. It's ready. And God, I love Tennessee. Tennessee is my home. And it is beautiful to see the growth. And it would be great. And for that, I think it'd be great for Major League Baseball as well. You want to find yourself. Rob Manfred, he hasn't made a secret about his feelings about the Rays and what he's wanted with the Rays for quite some time.
And let's face it, Major League Baseball wants to get out of a bad situation, and they've come to realize that Tampa Bay is a bad situation, and they're trying to find a better one, and I think they will.
Yeah.
But they've got
a new exciting, right? Yeah, something new exciting.
And they've got
to see what happens
on the ownership to get them out of there so that can happen.
That's a damn shame. But you know what? If we lose the Rays, I'll have the Stars.
But again, here's the other part to that. If the Rays get off to a great start, it's just going to reinforce the idea that he keeps the team.
Right. And I don't like that because it's as if they've already made their decision, right? So now what? And it can happen, John. You're right. It can happen just like that. Like that. Louis, final thoughts.
Yeah, because I was thinking about this, all through yesterday of like, what do you do, with a team that, doesn't sell, doesn't draw any crowd, simply a few flies. And this is I think very disturbing for Tampa. But now what about the Marlins? Because they're not much better, attendance wise and whatnot. But I don't think they seem to be in the same trouble. But
Oh,
you would think Florida is a prime spot for baseball, with the spring training and the warm weather, and it just doesn't seem to work. But I gotta feel sorry for the Rays right now. I mean, for what they went through, with a hurricane and just destroyed everything. So I'm hoping they can find, a solution to this, or maybe I might go to Nashville, or maybe Montreal might be knocking at the door too, because they've been out of baseball for a while. So I mean, I think that was also a possible move as well.
Yeah.
I don't see Montreal being a possibility simply
You know?
because hockey is so big up there. And with the
Yeah.
women's league now starting to really, frankly, grab hold, it's really become a hockey area up there. I mean, the PWHL is doing some great business up in Montreal with the team
Yeah.
that's up there. And I just think that hockey rules in Montreal, in particular, really in Canada in general, but in Montreal in particular. And I just think baseball would have a hard time competing.
Well, what about when they held some exhibition games there, or as an in-season games not too long ago, and they drew a pretty good crowd. So I don't know if I really ruled that out.
Well, again, I think, remember, when those exhibition games were played, there was no women's professional hockey league. Now there
Okay.
is. And because there is, that's really starting to create the mindset that hockey is what it's all about in Canada.
Well,
In other words, you're out.
Louis brought up the point. It's a shame, Florida doesn't seem to be able to handle a baseball team.
Well, the senior citizen population that lives in Florida is very big for spring training because, for the most part, those
Right. They love spring training. They love it.
It's spring training. It's daytime. The tickets are cheap, and so for the month and a half that they're down there, sure, they'll go to these games. But when you start charging full price for regular season games, that's going to be
and in Tampa and in Florida, in Miami, it doesn't matter if they have a great baseball team and win a world championship. It still doesn't seem to.
No, it doesn't work.
No,
Doesn't work.
Drop flies.
John, final thoughts.
Well, the other interesting aspect to this is the Oakland A's. Now they've moved to Sacramento to a minor league ballpark, and the ticket sales for that situation have become so much better. The Oakland A's are already 12% higher in ticket sales this year than they were at this time last year. So it
Go
appears
figure that.
I know the move to Sacramento has actually worked for this ball club, and it does appear that there is interest in Sacramento to see this team play.
That doesn't surprise me because we were talking about Nashville, right? And what's going to happen to the Rays? And hey, why wouldn't Nashville then, instead of trying to build a team, absorb a team, grab the Rays? Well, let's go to this situation, right? John, who were we just talking about? I forgot.
The Oakland A's.
Holy crap! I just drew a blank. Now you go to the Oakland A's, a team that again horrible, and then they're gonna leave. They couldn't draw up attendance. There was a lot of memes and a lot of jokes on social media. A lot of pictures about all the empty seats in Oakland. But if you're a city like Nashville, that's what I was going to say, or a city like Sacramento, and in Sacramento's case, they know, just a little minor league ballpark that we watch it. We come here and we understand. Why not grasp the moment and buy tickets? You got a Major League Baseball team, damn, in your little minor league park, Louis. Might as well have fun and watch them. And I'm surprised about the 12% jump. I'm not gonna lie. I'm surprised, John. That 12% better.
It's a very big jump for a team that, frankly, took a lot of abuse last year for the way that all of that went down. And yet it appears the city of Sacramento, at least for the time being, is willing to embrace this team. Now, again, if they get off to a bad start, maybe this 12% just becomes a short-term thing. But if they can hang in there and give Sacramento a reason to go to the ballpark and watch this team play, who knows?
So the season starts tomorrow, boys, right?
Yeah, it does in Tokyo. Yeah, with the Dodgers and Cubs in the dome.
Yamamoto and Inagana, what? Something like that.
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah, I'm not going to even try to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those will be your two starting pitchers tomorrow in Tokyo. As the Major League Baseball season gets underway, it'll be the only game. Spring training will continue, and then the regular season will actually start
Next week.
Oh,
Yeah. Next
Thursday.
Thursday.
next Thursday. So we'll see. For me, on a final thought, I'm going to go back to the Yankees. You make a World Series run. You lose the World Series. The only thing that you should be thinking about now is we're going back and get that title we didn't get last year.
That's right.
What's the only thing that can stop you? Injuries. Well, beside your boy's hamstring. I'm not.
The fact that Juan Soto is on the other side of the city.
Oh, you have no Juan Soto either. Yeah. I don't know, Louis. I may have a lot of fun with you this year.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
I'm just saying, Louis, it could be a long season in the Bronx.
Yeah, maybe. Well, we'll see as it
I
goes
can
along.
hear it now, John. I can hear it now. September. Yankees are 19 games out, and Louis says, "It's all right. We still got a chance. I know there's only 18 games left, and we're 19 games out, but we still have a chance."
Still a chance. Not a very high chance, but we still have a chance.
We got to give it to the fans. Thank you for joining us this evening, folks. This is In the Batter's Box, the NGSC Sports Baseball Show. I'm your host, Ralph Garcia, joined by my co-host, John Doucette. Louis Sonora, we had the pleasure of having our partner, Bradley Walker, on from Tampa, talking about the Tampa mess. I'll be back. I don't know if I'll be back this Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
But if we are, there's a lot to talk about because there's something happening in Washington every city. There's something happening right now as I run my mouth. Matter of fact, I was going to say earlier that we may not want an MLB franchise in Toronto because the president might impose even more tariffs. So
on balls and bats and gloves. Who knows?
We don't want that kind of stuff. Okay, thank you for joining us this evening. This is In the Batter Box. Don't forget Louis Sonora, Saturday, 4 to 6 p.m., the Enhanced Sports Show. You guys already know. You've been there. Until then,
All right.
have a good night. Peace.